What is up, boys? Ron from Never Lucky. Let's talk about some of my favorite waiver wire stashes ahead of week 10. I want to help you save some money, man. I dropped all of my fab pretty much the first 5 weeks. I'm trying to hit on those early players that break out, so I'm broke. I have to play like Gollum or Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. I have to pick up guys. I have to be a goblin, essentially. I have to pick up guys on Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning when waivers are open. This is one of my favorite videos to make, guys, because you can find some gold in the waiver wire, man. I've been able to pick up guys like Woody Marks, Isaiah Davis, Kyle Manunga. I've been talking about him all season, man. So let's get into the video, man. If you really want to help your boy, like the video, subscribe if you want to catch more of it. Discord link down below. We're talking ball every day. We're helping each other with sits, starts, trade advice, all that good stuff. Let's get into this video now. So at the top of the video, guys, we always talk about handcuffs. This is the time of season when you have to start picking them up. At the top, I have a couple guys which I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on, but make sure you guys pick up your own handcuffs. That's just the way that I like to do it, dude. I want to make sure that if my guy goes down, I'm chilling, dude. I can sleep at night. I know I can just throw a dude in my lineup because at the moment, I'm sitting on like everybody else's handcuff. Nobody's getting injured, dude. It's been all season. I have the worst luck when it comes to picking up handcuffs. Every single lottery pick I've picked up, the dude ahead of them is not only healthy, he's popping off. It looks like LaDainian Tomlinson out there. So look at this list. I have them in order. There's a couple guys at the top that I want to talk about a little bit further. We're going to go a little bit deeper on them, man, like Blake Corum, Tuten, Davis, Sean Tuck. But this is why you guys came to the video. Let's talk about stashes. We'll start at the top with quarterbacks. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's at home against the Bengals in week 11, guys. Stash him this week, start him next week. The Bengals give up the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks, so it's a smash start. You guys know shootouts pretty much every game that Joe Flacco and the Bengals are in. I think Aaron Rodgers can have one of those vintage games where he throws like 3 touchdowns, so he's a great stash. Geno Smith, look, he might have swapped jerseys with somebody's granddad in the stadium last night because he was horrible. But we've seen Geno Smith kind of cook in some games, man. Like, believe it or not, Geno Smith has more 30-point fantasy games than Josh Allen this season. Now, he's also trash in a lot of games, but I think this can be one of the games that he actually does well. They're playing against the Cowboys in week 11, guys, and they are dead last in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. Their defense is horrible. It's essentially the Bengals and Cowboys. You want to start quarterbacks against them pretty much every single time. Jordan Love as well here, guys. He is going up against the Giants, 4th worst against quarterbacks. Their secondary is beat up. They're bad. Just like the Bengals and Cowboys, usually quarterbacks do really well against them. But look, man, if you're down horrendous, you're 2-9, your league mates are calling you bad, Tua Tagovailoa is actually a decent pickup in week 11 or before week 11. They're playing against the Commanders, who give up the 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So it's disgusting. I usually don't want to start Tua, but you know, the Miami Dolphins are a weird team, man. They have so much talent on their team. They have a good coach, I guess. I mean, he's a good offensive mind, but their defense is bad. They're missing Tyreek Hill. It's just like a weird team. They're just a bad team, but negative game scripts. Tua Tagovailoa going up against the Commanders, who are also injured. They don't have JD5, so I think that's a decent stash and play. Again, man, you got to be super desperate for that one. Now we got running backs. We already talked about some of them in the handcuff section, but I want to hone in on some of these guys a little bit more. Blake Corum at the top, man. He has 12 and 13 carries in consecutive games. Back-to-back games. Look, he looks good most of the time, dude. And he's getting some goal line work. They're essentially trading drives. It goes, you know, Kyron, then Corum for an entire drive, then back to Kyron, and they're just alternating the whole game. Even when the game was out of hand, Kyron Williams actually got the last drive for them when the game was fully won. So it's not one of those situations where Blake Corum's only coming in to spell Kyron. It looks like a legitimate like 60-40 split right now. So, and the fact that he's on like one of the best offenses, the contingent upside is insane, right? Think of him like a Zach Charbonnet minus like more of the goal line work, where if something were to happen to Kyron, Blake Corum is legitimately a league winner. I know we throw that term around a lot, but dude, it's just such a good offense, and you want pieces of it, right? Especially the handcuffs for like running backs like Kyron, dude, who he's dealt with injuries in the past, and he's not the most efficient running back. Bhayshul Tuten, guys, something we need to talk about here. I've been talking about him all season. He had 6 red zone attempts to ETN's 8. He gets the touchdown. He vultures the touchdown from ETN. He was the running back also on the field when Trevor Lawrence got the QB sneak at the end of the game. So that could have easily went to Tune if they didn't sneak it in. The way it looks to me is that Tune is shaping out to be kind of the short yardage back for them. And we do know that he is explosive. He can break off a big run any game. He just hasn't done it yet this year. It's just weird. I don't think he has a single run over 15 yards, which is kind of concerning because we always thought he was going to be a big play guy. But again, decent offense, talented, very fast running back. This coaching staff went and drafted him specifically. They wanted him. And if anything were to happen to ETN, similar to Corum, dude, it's just, you know, wheels up. All right, guys, Isaiah Davis is somebody that I was really hoping Breece Hall get traded. I'm an Isaiah Davis bag holder. So 12 touches in week 8. He goes 7 for 65 yards and then 5 for 55 in the air. Now, that was against the Bengals. Keep in mind, again, everybody eats against the Bengals. I legitimately think he's like a 1B type of running back on this team, right? Like, he is like a legitimate dude who's going to take like 40% of the snaps, 40% of the work from Brees Hall, which is really concerning if you have Brees Hall, but that makes him a must add, right? Because if Brees Hall were to go down, of course, he's going to, he has some standalone value. You can start him at like a desperation flex, but if something were to happen to Brees Hall, automatic, top 36 guy because the Jets are bad. But if something were to happen to Brees Hall, man, Isaiah Davis is not going to have an Isaiah Davis behind him. He's just going to get like all the work. He's probably never going to come off the field. That's the type of handcuff that I personally like to add. And it kind of sucks hoping for an injury on a player ahead of them. If you're a Brees Hall owner and you're watching this, make sure you pick him up, dude, because you want to make sure that you want to get those handcuffs that if the starter were to go down, they'd be like a full-time guy, right? Those are the most valuable handcuffs. And then, on better offenses, teams that are winning, that kind of stuff. Ryan Thomas Jr., somebody who finally did something, gets a touchdown in the last game. We know about Christian McCaffrey's calf injury history. It can flare up any day. He's getting so many carries, dude. He's already up to like 240 touches on the season. It's absolutely insane. And we know Christian McCaffrey's amazing. We know Brian Robinson Jr. can be like a 3-down back. So that's why he's a very usable handcuff. You can probably put him in like a desperation flex as well in good matchups where maybe he'll get some like, trash garbage time touches. Devin Singletary, I have him up here kind of behind by himself. I kind of have him like, maybe I should code him something else or color him something else. He actually outsnapped and outtouched Tyrone Tracy in that first week. I said it, man. In the last stash video, I said pick up Devin Singletary. You can maybe even start him if you're super desperate, because even though Tracy took the job from Singletary last season, we have to remember that that was coming off of an injury from Singletary, and then they just rode the hot hand, right? While with Cam Scatterba going down, Tracy kind of not looking that good on like early downs so far this season. Devin Singletary, of course, took the early down short yardage stuff, man. And I honestly think it kind of suits the team more. Devin Singletary, a little bit of a better pass blocker, better on early downs between the tackles. Tracy, more the dynamic, high value fantasy touch guy, right? So I'm not saying Singletary is going to outplay Tracy or even outscore him, but there's a chance here that Devin Singletary is usable, man. That we just have like a duo backfield the rest of the season. I personally picked him up. I'm probably starting him this week, man, because I did hear a report that we're going to have strong winds, snow in this Chicago Giants game. So there's a chance that the Giants have to lean on their run a little bit more. And then this is like a deep one, dude, a massive deep pickup here. Phil Mafa for the Dallas Cowboys, going to be activated from IR. The Cowboys hate Jadon Blue. They think he's bad. He makes mental mistakes. He's quick and he's like a good little scat back, but he's just not an NFL ready running back. He makes too many mistakes. Phil Mafa is somebody that this team likes. They're going to activate him off IR and most likely make him the handcuff. He's going to be the backup to Javonte. So in the realm of backups, Javonte Williams, has kind of not looked good in some stretches this week. He had a bad fumble in the last game, a very critical part of the game. So I'm not saying he's going to get benched, but, if something were to happen to Javonte, he's a very physical running back, has a very physical, and, he has injury history as well. So Phil Moff is a deep one, dude, very deep pickup and stash, especially if you have Javonte. Make sure you pick up Phil Mafa. I don't think it's going to be Jadon Blue. Let's move it along now to wide receivers, dude. I have a couple names for you guys. I have this duo here of Kyle Williams and DeMario Douglas. Kayshon Boutte has a hamstring injury. He told his Discord community, which is crazy, he has a Discord. He told them he's going to have a grade 1 hamstring strain, or that he has a grade 1 hamstring strain. Probably one game that he's going to miss. Could be more, right? We just don't know. But, the team went out and said that Kyle Williams is going to get more opportunities. And he has actually played some snaps this season and just got nothing. He had like one crosser, which was a mistiming by him or Drake May. I don't really know, but he didn't catch it. But DeMario Douglas is actually the guy who produced, right? He's a part-time player. He's only a slot player. Only played, I believe, like 27% of snaps, but went for like 16 fantasy points. Had a touchdown reception where he was falling for like 30 seconds. He was just fully horizontal the whole time and gets into the end zone. And DeMario Douglas is a player that this team loves. The coaching staff loves him. And he's actually pretty good, right? Like anytime he does get touches, he's actually pretty serviceable with them. Out of the two, I'd probably lean DeMario Douglas, somebody you can probably start this week if you're desperate. He's on like every waiver wire. Kyle Williams is more speculative. Let's see what happens. I mean, he's talented, yards after the catch guy. Loved his profile, just hasn't done shit. Luther Burden, probably the most important stash like in fantasy football, because he's essentially a handcuff to like 3 different players, man. If DJ Moore goes down, he's instantly a starter. If Olamide Zaccheaus goes down, he's a part-time starter. If Roma Dunze goes down, he is a full-time starter. So He's essentially a three-person handcuff, dude. I don't know why we don't handcuff wide receivers enough. Obviously, it's because running backs get injured the most, but there's some players sitting out there with Luther Burden is such a skilled player, dude. If you're in like a keeper league or dynasty, obviously, go out and get Luther Burden because I don't think DJ Moore is long for this world or this Bears world. Darius Slayton, he's trash. His PFF grades are absolutely horrible. And he had like two back-to-back games with two drop touchdowns. Like, absolute breadbasket just goes through his hands. So he's bad, but he's going to continue getting snaps. I think. I mean, there's a chance he gets benched after just honestly like losing the game for the Giants several times. Like there's one where he had a offensive pass interference on like a 60-yard bomb, I think 3 weeks ago. And then last week gets like a drop touchdown. I think he had like 3 games of like potential touchdowns. Let's talk about this little category here. We got Chim, Dike, and Adonai. Chim Dike might have been dropped because he only had like one target in the last game. It was a very difficult matchup against the Patriots. But he does get the special teams touchdown finally. So if you start him, he got you like 7 fantasy points. But he might have been dropped. And I do think he's the best wide receiver on this roster, ahead of Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley didn't get traded, unfortunately. I would have loved that for Chim Dike. But I do think A.O. Maynor has just been bad, not playing very well. So Chim Dike is someone where rest of the season, negative game scripts. Cam Ward has shown some flashes of being decent. So I think Chim Dike is going to be serviceable the rest of the season. I have him on my team. I'm stashing him. You know, you could probably play him in decent matchups. Definitely not against like really good defenses we saw at the Patriots were able to do. Adonai Mitchell, it's a very disgusting pickup, but he's very talented. And honestly, he'd be like a top 5 in all of fantasy football league if your league does points per misplay, mental lapse, or points per drop. Because the dude drops passes, makes mistakes, but he's so fast. He separates better than almost anyone. And the Jets are kind of starved for talent at the moment, man. So Adonai Mitchell can actually be like a decent little stash. I see him as like a Christian Watson on a worse offense, if that makes sense. Just down the field, deep ball stretcher, good after the catch when he does catch it. And, you know, the Jets don't really have anyone opposite of Garrett Wilson. So let's see if Adonai Mitchell can kind of become something, you know, like as like a super desperation. Like I need 20 points and, you know, I'm deciding between Adonai Mitchell and Bust Out Magoo or Chingus McDingus. And, you know, Adonai Mitchell might be somebody you can turn to. So this is a disgusting category. Jerry Jeudy might have been dropped, but I want to linger on Jerry Jeudy just for a second. Kevin Stefanski handed over offensive play calling to his offensive coordinator for the second time in a row, 2 seasons in a row. This could mean a refresh, a reversion, back to what made them successful in the past. Unfortunately, Dylan Gabriel is not, you know, Jameis Winston or Flacco, all the different like serviceable quarterbacks they had. And Jerry Jeudy had a massive end of season last year when they did turn to Jameis Winston. Now, what if they turn to Shedeur Sanders, who this offensive coordinator has said he does like? I think he was a part of the decision process in drafting him. Look, man, at the end of the day, Jerry Jeudy is the most talented wide receiver on the team. It's a bad team. They don't score a lot of points. They are going to lean on the run and the tight ends most of the season. But, you know, if he's sitting there on the waiver wire, I want to pick him up and just see what happens. I picked him up in my important league. He's sitting at the end of my bench. I want to see what happens with the new play calling. Maybe they get the wide receivers a little bit more involved. Devaughn Vele, he's just the beneficiary of the trade of Rashid Shaheed for the Saints. So he's going to be now like the wide receiver 2 opposite Olave. And the team said that he's going to get more targets. He's going to get more touches. So let's see what's up. You know, maybe there's a little bit of rapport with Vele and Shuck. Maybe they were sitting together having breakfast in the offseason. So we just don't know. Then I got some tight ends for you guys. Zach Ertz gets to play against Miami in week 11. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to tight ends. I know it's better with JD5 and it's going to be Mariota. And, you know, with Mariota, Zach Ertz actually isn't very good or startable, but you love the matchup. So if it's, you know, super barren on the waiver wire, Mason Taylor, dude, he gets New England in week 11. I know New England, the Patriots might actually be like the best defense in the NFL, but the one singular area where they're not like top 5 is against tight ends. I guess it's just how teams have to play them. You kind of have to get your tight ends involved. So Mason Taylor, you know, we love the usage before the bye week. He gets the touchdown pass from Breece Hall. He actually has decent like route participation. He's a full-time player. So when it comes to like expected fantasy points, Mason Taylor's actually not horrible, right? And I think Garrett Wilson probably helps the team where he like opens up the field a little bit more for some of these guys to operate for guys like Mason Taylor. So, and these two are, one of them is disgusting. The other one is super speculative, but Greg Dulcich, man, he had 5 catches, 49 yards on only 36% of snaps in week 10. Darren Waller's on the shelf. They said there's a chance that Darren Waller comes back this season. They don't expect him to be out for the season, but for the time being, I think the earliest Darren Waller could return is like week 13. For the time being, man, Greg Dulcich, dude, the team released Tanner Connor yesterday, which was the other tight end he was kind of competing with, because I think they liked what they saw in him, man. We know that tight ends for this team could produce. And then the last one, guys, Brenton Strange, he's on IR. It was said to be 5 weeks. That means he could return in week 11 or 12, not this week. And dude, he was top 10 in usage, top 10 in route participation. He was like a really important part of this team, and they've been really bad since his injury. I'm not saying he's the reason they've been bad. The defense has faltered, to Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. We know the whole narrative here, but Brenton Strange was very important, dude. And I do think that there's more mouths to feed, obviously, with Jacoby Myers, kind of operates in a similar type of role as Brenton Strange. So it's super speculative, right? When Brenton Strange comes back, I want to see how that very first game is with Myers, with Thomas, with potentially Hunter being back too. He could just be a super tertiary piece, and then we just drop him, right? But if you're like me and you're like streaming tight end, you don't really have anyone who's like a every week starter. Brenton Strange is somebody that if you have an extra IR spot, you can pick him up, throw him in the IR, then pick someone else up, right? Then pick up Mason Taylor or Ertz. That's the video, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, genuinely appreciate you guys giving me your time watching the video. It really helps the channel when you watch the whole video. So thank you to anyone who is still here. Discord link down below, guys. It's a growing community. We're talking ball every day, and then we're helping each other with sit starts, trade advice. There's a lot of sharps in that Discord, man. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes better advice than I do. We set up polls where we're like voting on who you should start. So you're getting input from a lot of people. It's not just myself. I want to give a special thank you to all you guys in the Discord, man. Fizz, Cam, everybody, dude. You guys are goated. Thank you guys for just being there, man, and just talking ball, dude. I've really enjoyed it this season. The season is coming to a slow close, so I just want to say thank you to you guys, man. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are giving me great feedback on the channel and on just the videos in general. I really do appreciate it. I just wanted to say that, man. I feel like I haven't given enough love to you guys. But stay tuned tomorrow, guys. We're probably going to release 2 videos. I'm going to see if I can get to it. We're going to do wide receiver rankings and then quarterback, tight end, and I'll throw in some defensive rankings as well in there. So thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.